What if I told you that 73-year-old Ruby from Phoenix transformed her overwhelming 40-year family home into a peaceful sanctuary in just 28 days? She went from feeling trapped by decades of memories and possessions to waking up every morning in a space that actually energizes her. The secret? 4 simple steps that work specifically for seniors who thought it was too late to start over. Ruby's story isn't unique. Thousands of seniors are discovering that decluttering after 60 isn't about throwing away your life, it's about reclaiming it. Stay with me because what Ruby learned will change how you see your home forever. If you're watching this, chances are you're looking around your home right now feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're like Ruby was, surrounded by decades of accumulated belongings, family heirlooms, and memories that have somehow become more burden than blessing. You're not alone in this feeling, and more importantly, you're not too late to change it. I'm here to share the exact 4-step system that Ruby and hundreds of other seniors have used to transform their homes from sources of stress into spaces of peace. These aren't the typical decluttering tips you've heard before. These are specifically designed for seniors who have unique challenges, emotional attachments, and physical considerations that younger people simply don't understand. Before we dive in, I want you to do something right now. Look around your current space and ask yourself, does this room give me energy or drain it? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and your honesty helps other viewers realize they're not alone in this journey. Now, let's discover the 4 steps that will change everything about how you experience your home. Number 1. The memory sort method. The first step Ruby learned, and the one that surprised her most, was something called the memory sort method. This isn't about ruthlessly throwing things away, it's about honoring your memories while creating space for your future. Here's what makes this different from typical decluttering advice. We're not asking you to let go of everything. Instead, we're teaching you to categorize your belongings into 3 distinct memory categories. Category 1. Active memories. These are items that still bring you joy when you see them, use them, or think about them. Ruby discovered that her grandmother's china set fell into this category. Every time she looked at it, she smiled and felt connected to her family heritage. The key question for active memories is, does this item still spark positive emotions when I encounter it? Category 2. Sleeping memories. These are items with sentimental value that you rarely see or interact with because they're buried under other things. Ruby found her late husband's toolbox in the garage, covered in dust. She realized she wanted to honor his memory, but the tools didn't need to take up prime real estate in her daily life. Sleeping memories get special storage or are transformed into something more meaningful. Category 3. Exhausted memories. These are items you're keeping out of guilt or obligation, but they actually make you feel tired or sad when you see them. Ruby had boxes of her children's school papers from 30 years ago. She realized she was keeping them because she thought she should, not because they brought her joy. The magic happens when you start sorting. Ruby began with just 1 drawer in her kitchen. She found 12 items that were active memories, including a wooden spoon her mother gave her that she still used weekly. She found 8 sleeping memories, like special occasion dishes she wanted to keep but rarely saw. And she found 15 exhausted memories, things like outdated appliances and gifts she'd never liked but felt guilty about discarding. Here's the emotional breakthrough Ruby experienced. When she gave herself permission to let go of exhausted memories, she created space to properly honor her active memories. That wooden spoon now has a special place in her kitchen where she sees it every day and smiles. The physical process is simple but powerful. Get 3 boxes or bags and label them. Start with 1 small area, a single drawer, 1 shelf, or even just the top of a dresser. Hold each item and ask yourself, what type of memory is this? Trust your gut reaction. If you have to think too hard about whether something brings you joy, it probably doesn't. But here's what nobody tells you about this process. You might cry, and that's okay. Ruby cried when she found a sweater she'd been saving for her daughter, who had already told her she didn't want it. The tears weren't about the sweater. They were about accepting that her role as a mother had evolved, And that was beautiful, not sad. What category do you think most of your belongings fall into? Share in the comments. Your answer might help someone else feel less alone in their decluttering journey. Number 2. The energy mapping technique Step 2 changed everything for Ruby, and it's something most decluttering experts never talk about: energy mapping. This technique recognizes that seniors have different energy patterns throughout the day and throughout the week, and your home organization should support your natural rhythms, not fight against them. Ruby discovered she had 3 distinct energy zones throughout her day. Her morning energy peak happened between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. when she felt most alert and motivated. Her afternoon maintenance window was from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. when she could handle moderate tasks but needed things to be simple and accessible. Her evening wind-down period was after 6 p.m. when she wanted everything to be calm and effortless. Here's how this transformed her home organization. Instead of fighting against her natural energy, she designed her space to work with it. High energy zone setup. Ruby reorganized her kitchen so that everything she needed for her most demanding cooking projects was within easy reach during her morning peak. She moved her coffee maker, her favorite cooking utensils, and her meal prep containers to the counter space where she naturally gravitated in the morning. This wasn't just about convenience, it was about honoring her body's natural rhythms. Moderate energy zone setup. During her afternoon maintenance window, Ruby needed tasks that felt manageable but productive. She created what she called 15-minute victory stations around her home. One station was a small desk area where she could sort mail, pay bills, or write notes. Another was a comfortable chair with good lighting where she could do gentle organizing tasks like sorting photographs or organizing her medication. Low energy zone setup. For her evening wind-down period, Ruby made sure everything she needed was effortless to access. Her favorite reading chair had a side table with reading glasses, a water bottle, and a soft blanket. Her bathroom had night lights and everything she needed for her evening routine within arm's reach. But here's the breakthrough that changed Ruby's life. She stopped fighting against her afternoon energy dip. Instead of pushing through fatigue, she embraced it by creating a restoration station, a comfortable spot where she could rest without feeling guilty, surrounded by things that brought her peace. The physical mapping process is surprisingly simple. For 1 week, carry a small notebook and jot down how you feel in each room at different times of day. Notice patterns. Ruby discovered that her living room felt energizing in the morning but draining in the afternoon because of how the light hit her favorite chair. She simply rearranged the furniture to work with the natural light patterns. The energy audit questions. Which rooms make you feel alert and motivated? Which spaces feel overwhelming or draining? What time of day do you feel most capable of tackling challenging tasks? When do you need your environment to support rest and restoration? Ruby's biggest surprise was discovering that her bedroom had been set up all wrong for her energy patterns. She'd been using it as a storage space for laundry and paperwork, which made it feel chaotic when she needed it to be restful. She moved those activities to her moderate energy zone and transformed her bedroom into a true sanctuary. The emotional impact was profound. Ruby told me, for the first time in years, I felt like my home was taking care of me instead of me constantly taking care of it. She realized that honoring her energy patterns wasn't laziness, it was wisdom. Here's a question for you. What time of day do you feel most energetic, and is your home set up to support that energy? Let us know in the comments. Your insights might help someone else optimize their space. Number 3. The Legacy Curation System. The third step in Ruby's transformation was the most emotionally powerful: the Legacy Curation System. This isn't about getting rid of meaningful items, it's about elevating them from clutter to celebration. Ruby's wake-up call came when she realized that her most precious possessions were buried and forgotten in closets and boxes. Her grandmother's jewelry was tangled in a drawer. Her father's war medals were in a shoebox in the basement. Her children's artwork was crammed in overstuffed albums that no one ever looked at. She had kept everything but honored nothing. The Legacy Curation System works on a simple but powerful principle. If something is truly meaningful, it deserves to be seen, celebrated, and properly cared for. If it's hidden away and forgotten, it's not serving its purpose as a keeper of memories. The three-tier legacy framework. Tier 1. Daily celebration items. These are meaningful possessions that earn a place in your everyday life. Ruby chose 5 items that represented her most cherished memories. Her grandmother's teacup, which she now uses for her morning coffee, her late husband's favorite book, displayed on her nightstand, her mother's recipe box, given prime real estate in her kitchen, a photograph of her children, framed beautifully in her living room, and her father's pocket watch, displayed in a place of honor. Tier 2. Seasonal rotation items. These are meaningful possessions that don't need to be out all the time but deserve regular attention. Ruby created a beautiful cabinet where she rotates items quarterly. Spring might feature her garden club awards and flower photographs. Summer brings out family vacation memories and beach treasures. Fall showcases harvest decorations and Thanksgiving memories. Winter highlights holiday traditions and cozy family moments. Tier 3. Archive preservation items. These are items too precious to display but too important to discard. Ruby invested in proper storage solutions. Acid-free boxes for documents, climate-controlled storage for textiles, and digital preservation for photographs. The key is making these items accessible and well-organized, not buried and forgotten. The transformation process started with Ruby's legacy inventory. She spent one afternoon going through her home and identifying every item that held genuine sentimental value. She was shocked to discover she had over 200 items she considered meaningful. No wonder her home felt overwhelming. Here's the emotional breakthrough. Ruby realized that by trying to keep everything, she was honoring nothing. When she curated her legacy items down to what truly mattered most, each remaining piece became more precious, not less. The physical process involves creating what Ruby calls legacy stations throughout her home. Her entryway features a beautiful console table with a rotating display of family photographs. Her living room has an elegant bookshelf where she showcases meaningful books, small treasures, and seasonal decorations. Her bedroom has a special drawer lined with velvet where she keeps her most precious jewelry and small keepsakes. But here's what made the biggest difference. Ruby involved her family in the process. She invited her children and grandchildren to hear the stories behind her curated items. Her grandson was fascinated by his great-grandfather's pocket watch. Her daughter was moved to tears by the teacup story. These weren't just objects anymore, they were bridges between generations. The surprise benefit Ruby discovered was that curating her legacy items actually strengthened her family relationships. Instead of overwhelming her loved ones with boxes of random belongings after she's gone, she was actively sharing the stories and meanings while she was still here to tell them. The legacy curation questions. If you could only keep 10 meaningful items, what would they be? Which of your possessions have stories that your family doesn't know? What items are you saving for someday that could bring you joy today? Which meaningful items are currently buried or forgotten in your home? Ruby's most profound realization was that legacy curation isn't about preparing for death. It's about celebrating life. Every curated item in her home now tells a story, sparks a memory, or brings a smile to her face. What's one meaningful item in your home that deserves better treatment than it's currently getting? Tell us in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to honor their own precious memories. Number 4. The Maintenance Rhythm Protocol. The fourth and final step that secured Ruby's transformation was the Maintenance Rhythm Protocol. This is where most seniors struggle with decluttering. They make progress but can't maintain it. Ruby discovered that the secret isn't willpower or discipline. It's creating systems that work with your natural rhythms and physical capabilities. Ruby's biggest fear was that all her hard work would be undone within months. She'd tried to organize before, but life would creep back in, and soon her spaces felt chaotic again. The Maintenance Rhythm Protocol changed everything because it's designed specifically for seniors who may have limited energy, mobility challenges, or simply want to enjoy their homes without constant maintenance stress. The three-phase maintenance system. Phase 1. Daily micro-habits, 5 minutes or less. Ruby learned that consistency beats intensity every time. Instead of exhausting weekend cleaning sessions, she developed tiny daily habits that prevented chaos from accumulating. Her morning routine includes putting 3 things back in their designated homes while her coffee brews. Her evening routine involves a 5-minute reset walk through her main living areas, simply putting things back where they belong. The genius of micro-habits is that they require almost no willpower. Ruby doesn't have to decide whether to tidy up, it's just part of her coffee routine and bedtime ritual. These small actions prevent the overwhelming buildup that used to sabotage her efforts. Phase 2. Weekly rhythm checks, 15-20 minutes. Every Tuesday morning, Ruby does what she calls a rhythm check. She walks through her home with a simple checklist. Are my energy zones still working? Are my legacy items properly displayed and cared for? Are any areas starting to feel overwhelming? This isn't deep cleaning, it's system maintenance. Ruby might notice that her mail is piling up in the wrong spot, indicating her mail sorting system needs adjustment. Or she might realize that her seasonal rotation needs attention. The key is catching small problems before they become overwhelming situations. Phase 3. Monthly evolution sessions, 30-45 minutes. Once a month, Ruby schedules what she calls an evolution session. This is when she adapts her systems to match her changing needs. Maybe her energy patterns have shifted with the seasons. Maybe she's acquired new items that need proper homes. Maybe a system that worked well is now feeling cumbersome. Ruby discovered that her needs change more than she expected. In summer, she spends more time in her garden, so her entryway needs different organizational solutions. In winter, she needs cozy spaces optimized for indoor activities. The evolution sessions keep her systems flexible and responsive to her real life. The maintenance mindset shift. The biggest change in Ruby's thinking was moving from maintenance as burden to maintenance as self-care. She realized that maintaining her organized spaces wasn't about being perfect. It was about creating a home that continuously supported her well-being. Ruby's physical limitations actually became advantages in her maintenance system. Because she can't do everything at once, she had to create sustainable systems. Because she values her energy, she had to find efficient solutions. Because she wants to enjoy her home, she had to make maintenance pleasant rather than punishing. The flexibility principle. Ruby learned that rigid systems fail, but flexible rhythms succeed. If she misses her Tuesday rhythm check, she doesn't abandon the system, she does it Wednesday. If her daily micro-habits get disrupted by a grandchild's visit, she simply resumes when life settles back into routine. The 80-20 rule for seniors. Ruby discovered that maintaining 80% of her systems 80% of the time creates a home that feels organized and peaceful. Perfectionism was the enemy of progress. Good enough, consistently applied, was better than perfect occasionally achieved. The support system integration. Ruby involved her family and friends in her maintenance rhythms. Her daughter knows that the first Tuesday of each month is Ruby's evolution session, and she sometimes joins by video call to help with decision-making. Her neighbor has a similar system, and they occasionally do their weekly rhythm checks together, making it social and enjoyable. The emotional transformation was remarkable. Ruby went from feeling guilty about her home's condition to feeling proud of her sustainable systems. She realized that maintaining her organized space wasn't vanity, it was a form of self-respect and self-care. The long-term vision. Ruby understood that her maintenance rhythm protocol wasn't just about keeping her home tidy, it was about ensuring she could age in place comfortably. By creating systems that work with her current capabilities and can adapt to changing needs, she was investing in her future independence and quality of life. How do you currently maintain organized spaces in your home? Are your systems sustainable for your energy levels and lifestyle? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else create better maintenance rhythms. 6 months after implementing the core 4 steps, Ruby's transformation was remarkable. Her home went from feeling like a museum of forgotten memories to a living sanctuary that supported her daily life. But the real change wasn't just in her space, it was in her spirit. Ruby now wakes up energized instead of overwhelmed. Her morning coffee tastes better when she drinks it from her grandmother's teacup. Her evening reading is more peaceful in her perfectly organized sanctuary. Her family visits are more meaningful because they're surrounded by curated legacy items with stories to share. The most profound change was in Ruby's relationship with her possessions. She went from being owned by her stuff to being empowered by her choices. Every item in her home now has a purpose, a place, and a story. She's not just living in her space, she's thriving in it. But here's what Ruby wants you to know. This transformation didn't happen overnight, and it didn't require perfection. It happened through small, consistent steps that honored her energy, her memories, and her vision for her future. She's not just decluttered, she's reclaimed her life. Ruby's message to seniors everywhere: it's never too late to fall in love with your home again. Your space should serve you, not stress you. These 4 steps aren't just about organization. They're about creating a foundation for your best years yet. If Ruby's story resonates with you, I want you to take action today. Start with just one drawer using the memory sort method. Spend 15 minutes categorizing items into active, sleeping, and exhausted memories. Notice how this simple step feels. Hit that like button if this video helped you see your home differently. Share it with someone who needs to hear Ruby's story. Subscribe and ring the bell because next week, I'm sharing the 3 biggest mistakes seniors make when decluttering that actually make the problem worse. Your home should be your sanctuary, not your stress. You deserve to thrive in your space, and these 4 steps are your roadmap to get there. Ready to transform your home and your life? Let's do this together.